Hello everyone, this is the Undying Nephilim, and today I'm going to show some more of the work that I've done on the new incarnation of Hyrule Total War, which is now called Hyrule Conquest. Today I'm going to be showing the Gerudo, which is going to be the second faction in the demo that I'm going to release sometime soon, and just going to show some of their features, also some features that are not related to them, and some other things. So first off, the Gerudo, they're the second playable faction, and they're a little bit different than the Kingdom of Hyrule. I would describe the Kingdom of Hyrule as a more armor-heavy faction, while the Gerudo, they don't really have much armor. They're a lot lighter, they're a lot faster, and they deal a lot more damage. So they're more of a fast-paced, quick sort of marauding faction. And they have a few gameplay differences than the Kingdom of Hyrule, which I will show in just a second. So I'll send my scout to look around out here. I have the AI disabled while I show some of their features. I know some people wanted to see combat, so maybe in like the second half of the video I'll do a little combat or something. But anyway, first off, one thing I didn't really get to show with the Kingdom of Hyrule that I can show with the Gerudo is variation on the models for like single unit types, because if you look here, these are the Gerudo worker units, and they have completely randomized outfits, randomized hairstyles, randomized skin tones. You can see it on the soldiers here too. Even though they all have a uniform, they all have like different styled hair. You got some with the buns and some with little pigtails. So this was technically possible in Medieval 2, but like most things in that engine, there was still a lot of limitations on it. You could only because all of the model variations in Medieval 2 were technically a single model file, and there was actually a polygon limit. You could only put in as many variations before you hit that polygon limit. But in 0 AD, you can have unlimited variations for any unit. So if I wanted, I could theoretically have like 2,000 different hairstyles for just one of these units. I'm not going to go that crazy, but it's possible. Another thing that is possible that wasn't possible in Medieval 2 is a single unit can have different skeletons. So if I wanted like shorter and taller individuals for like the workers, I could have a shorter Gerudo and taller Gerudo, and that'll come really handy for factions like the Ordana province, where their peasants have no uniformity at all. So there's like short and squat peasants and then really tall and lanky ones. So as far as visual variety, this engine's gonna support a lot more than Medieval 2 ever could. And even on the buildings, they got animated waterfalls and everything, although I just realized the water's going in the completely wrong direction. Gravity's all messed up, and the moon cycle's all messed up on Hyrule right now. Anyway, so I guess I will start building things. I'll start with their farms, which, as with the Kingdom of Hyrule, the Gerudo, their farms are a little bit different than how all the other factions' farms work. They actually don't really have farms. They have these corrals that can breed pigs, and then they kill the pigs and harvest them for food, and that's how the Gerudo get their food. So they harvest their food a little bit different than the other factions, which is something I'm really pushing for, is all the factions getting their resources in different ways. You know, a little bit more asymmetry. And I think I'm just going to turn instant build on. Whoops. So that everything builds instantly, so I can show things without much waiting. So here's their pig farm. This is pretty much how they get their food. Now it costs a little bit of food to make the pigs, but once you start harvesting the pigs, you'll get more food in return. So there's this little sort of loss and gain aspect with how the Gerudo get food, and I think it really fits in with their wasted desert homeland that's not really fertile at all. So I wanted the Gerudo to have a little bit of trouble getting food. Of course, they can research upgrades and stuff that makes it easier to get food, but all these guys go harvest the pigs now. Train some more workers. Also note, I haven't put any custom sound effects in yet, so I'm still using the 0 AD sound effects. So if it doesn't sound very Zelda-ish right now, I haven't put in the sounds yet, so it will down the road when I get around to that. So what else can I show? I'll show one of their features that none of the other factions have, but I need to build some buildings first to show how it works. So let me build a barracks and a bar, and what should I build? Sand seal stable, which I think some people will be interested in. So one of the features of the Gerudo, I guess first off a little background, almost all of the factions have certain buildings that you can garrison units in, usually like towers or fortresses or the town center or whatever you want to call it. But the Gerudo, they can garrison all of their units in every single building. So if I wanted to, I can garrison these guys in here, and they'll man like the watchtowers up here, and they'll be able to defend the building from being captured, and they can do that with every single building. So even though the Gerudo don't have a lot of defensive buildings or towers, each and every single building of theirs can basically become sort of a makeshift tower and protect their units from damage too, so pretty awesome. I think it goes hand in hand with their theme in Ocarina of Time, where all of their buildings basically had like these flat little plateaus on the top that they could garrison their soldiers in, so that's one of the Gerudo features that is unique to them and none of the other factions. They can garrison every single building. Even their pig farm can be garrisoned, which is pretty funny to me for some reason. So let me build a few more of their buildings to train some units, and I'll show some of their units. The Gerudo have a lot of light and fast units with very low armor, and you'll see their units move faster than the Hylian units, but they generally take a bit more damage because they're more squishy because they don't have lots of armor. So carried over from Hyrule Total War, we have the Glaive Grunts and the Marauders. Like in Hyrule Total War, the Glaive Grunts, they're sort of a weak defensive spearmen. They give a little bonus when you garrison them inside buildings, so they prevent, like when an enemy tries to capture a building, they increase the capture time a little bit. So they're really good for garrisoning inside of your buildings and defending them from enemy capture attempts. And then over here we have the Marauders, which actually are not moving as fast as they should, but they're going to be a very fast and light unit that is designed for marauding. They do extra damage to civilian units, so they're really good against workers and civilian soldiers and sort of harassing the enemy's economy. So they're going to be a really fast and light attack unit that's designed for harassing. And those are the first two units. What other units do they have? Of course, archers are actually their specialty. So the Gerudo have quite a few ranged units, and this is their first one, the Sand Snipers. As their name implies, they have like a really long range, so these guys can shoot a little bit further than most other archers, so they have a pretty long attack range, which is pretty cool. Let's see them attack this little gazelle over here. Ah. And it's running away. Anyway, I'll leave the gazelle alone. These animals right here, they're all stock 0 AD animals. I'm going to replace them with a bunch of Zelda animals, which will be really cool once I get around to it. Another returning unit from Hyrule Total War is the Gerudo Dwarfs, or the Battlefield Assassins, whatever you want to call them. The mechanic isn't in the game yet, but they're going to have sort of a critical hit ability where there's a chance that they'll hit the weak spot on an enemy unit and deal tons of extra damage to their target, so they have a sort of random element to their attack with their dual katars that they use to stab. I always thought they looked really cool. I like katars. They're sort of a weird, odd weapon. I don't know, I like the punching daggers. And then these units were not exactly in Hyrule Total War. They were the officers, but now they're their own unit, and they're the Master Thieves. They're going to be a really fast unit that can become invisible. And stealth isn't in the game yet, I haven't worked it in yet, but they're going to be a stealth unit, so they can sneak into enemy bases and start harassing their workers or what have you, so that's going to be pretty cool. And they dual wield scimitars, so they deal quite a bit of damage, but they have no armor at all, so if an enemy manages to whack them with a sword, they're screwed. So what other units do we got? And the training, okay, here's some cool ones. captains. Train the tomb guards and the ice archers and the captains. So the tomb guards were technically in Hyrule Total War, but I've remodeled them. I've based their armor on the new Breath of the Wild armor pieces, so they got like the shiny golden armor, and they've got the golden shields. Turn the camera around so the sun's shining on them. And I gave them the little trident spear. So they're a defensive anti-cavalry unit. They're really resistant to arrows because of their shields, so they're just a sort of a beefy, slow defensive unit that you can garrison inside of your bases to defend them, and they're good against cavalry. Now, the Ice Archers, which brings to the attention another feature I love about 0AD that is completely impossible in Medieval 2, and that is attaching particle effects and sprites to units. As you can see, the Ice Archers, their bows are so cold that there's like this frost effect coming off of the bows. And as you'll see when they shoot their projectiles, they shoot ice arrows too, which they sort of freeze the air as they travel, and then all the snow starts to fall. But I'll show it by attacking his camel right here. So there they go. So it freezes the air with snow, and then it starts to snow, which I just think is so cool. Little like snowflakes, it's so awesome. So Ice Archers, they'll stun units that they hit and freeze them in place for a little bit. Haven't implemented it into the engine yet, but they basically stun enemy units and they create like this frozen effect on the ground, which will be awesome once it's all finally said and done. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the little snowflakes. I just think that's so cool. I love that it can finally have, because in Medieval 2, for the projectiles, you could get like little custom textures in, but there was just this weird, wonky problem with the engine where when you put in a custom texture for a projectile, after a while it would screw up the stock texture effects. So like building fires and like smoke effects and like the stock catapult effects would like start swapping out with other textures, and it would screw everything up. Just Medieval 2's engine is just so wonky. I hate it so much now, especially after working in this engine for a little over a month now, and now I can have all the custom particle effects I want, which I'll show another really cool one after I build the building. Now, where's some of my workers? So, let me build this right here. Oh yeah, there was a third unit, which I'll show while I build that. The Ashinon Captains, these are a commander unit for the Gerudo. Most factions will have some kind of commander unit, which will have like this aura around them that improves the performance of soldiers around them. And the Ashinon Captains, they improve the performance of archers and melee infantry. So they would boost these guys here, the Tomb Guards, and they would boost the attack of the Ice Archers by a little bit. But anyway, can't wait to replace the sound effects with Zelda ones, so let me train the Wind Witches, which are another showcase of particle effects. So they also have completely custom animations, which is another thing I am very happy about. I think I explained in my last video that in Medieval 2, you can make your own animations in Medieval 2, but you're kind of forced to use the skeletons in the game. So like a biped or a quadruped or whatever, and you have to warp the skeletons to get them to do what you want. But in 0AD, I can make all my own custom animations with any skeleton I want. So I've got these the Gerudo witches. They're like floating on these little tornadoes that spin around, which is just so cool to me for some reason. So you can see they move around on these little like desert like tornadoes, which is just so cool to me. Now, let me go find something to attack. I'll leave that camel alone and I'll go after this little yak here. And these are the first mage unit into the game. So they have like this magical attack. They fire out these tornadoes, which is gonna kind of stun units. It's like flinging it over there. And then they like create these dust storms too, which is just so cool. I freaking love this engine. It's so much better than Medieval 2. Just all the stuff that's possible is just... it's almost overwhelming what I can do. Anyway, those are the Wind Witches, which are awesome. And then let me upgrade this. And as you can see, like there's little spirits flying around the spirit altar after you upgrade it. And then it can also train the Iron Knuckles, which one of my favorite creatures from Ocarina of Time. His speed is set to a little bit too fast. He should be moving a lot slower than that, as his animation implies, so I need to fix that. But the Iron Knuckles is really big, sort of beefy, heavily armored unit that just deals tons of damage in front of it. And when all the sound effects and everything are in the engine, it's going to sound awesome. So what else do I want to show? Oh yeah, I know what I want to show. The aquatic units, which is going to be really awesome. So let me train some of the sand seals, which are creatures from Breath of the Wild. So, as you can see, I have the sand seals in the game with little riders on them, and they're wobbling around, which they have completely custom animations that I've done, which makes me very happy. I don't have to use stupid horse skeletons for them. I can use my own custom skeletons and animation so they actually look like wobbling walruses, which is what they really should be called. I don't know why they're called sand seals. Nintendo is really stupid at naming things. They're walruses, not seals, but they call them sand seals for some reason. Anyway, I need a few normal units to show what I'm gonna show, so let me get them to this body of water here. Let me get the seals down here. So, as I'm about to show, this engine supports something I really freaking wanted in Medieval 2 but couldn't do. So as you can see, most normal units, they can only go into like the shallowest portions of water. So if you like order them out into the water, they just kind of wait around there because they can't go into deep water because gameplay reasons. But these sand seals here, since they are aquatic creatures, they can go out into the water and cross bodies of water to get to the other side. So any of you who are familiar with The Legend of Zelda were probably instantly screaming Zoras. In Medieval 2, I could not have the Zoras cross into bodies of water because even though the engine had a swim function, it was completely broken and wouldn't work. So now the Zora faction, all of their units will finally be able to go into the water and actually use their advantage, which just makes me so freaking happy. This engine is finally able to let me do all the things I've been trying to do that I just could not do in Medieval 2, and it's blowing my mind. So yeah, this is the first example of an aquatic unit that can cross bodies of water, which is pretty freaking awesome. I still think they should be called wobbling walruses, not sand seals. But anyway, what else did I want to show? I think that's most of it. I'll probably build their wonder, because I like what their wonder looks like. And I guess I'll train Ganondorf, since he's here. I'll probably show him more when I finish all the heroes. I'll probably do before I release the demo, I'll do a little video on all the heroes for all the factions. But there's Ganondorf riding on his signature black horse, which he's one of my favorite Gerudo heroes. He's going to have all sorts of cavalry-related abilities, so he'll probably increase the performance of cavalry within his pretty big, you can see that circle that follows him. That's his ability aura, so he's going to be the cavalry hero for the Gerudo, and then Nabooru will probably be like a speed-based hero or an archer supporting hero, something like that. And anyway, let me build their wonder, because I like the Gerudo Wonder, which is... Oh, actually, I'm going to build their fortress first, from Ocarina of Time, because I really like the Gerudo Fortress. It's this giant defensive building that you can garrison with tons of soldiers, and they all, like, shoot arrows and stuff off of it, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I really need to fix the Iron Knuckle speed. He's going so fast. His walk animation's, like, way slower than his movement speed. So anyway, here's the Gerudo Fortress, which I think is pretty awesome. It's based off the one from Ocarina of Time, but I added like a bunch of flags and like little torches to it and whatnot. So let me get some soldiers garrisoned in it, and then they'll garrison up on the roofs and everything. And then they'll shoot their little archer arrows off of the roof, which is pretty freaking cool. Which, actually, Sing the Little Spirits reminds me, again, sort of going in with the visual thing, you can have animated buildings in this game, which is just freaking awesome. So once they finish build, actually it looks like it's already pre-built. That was weird. So like this windmill here is completely animated and spins around. And like the other Gerudo buildings, you can of course garrison units into it, so garrison the workers onto it. And then, yeah, I'm gonna build the Gerudo Wonder, which I'm out of space over there, so I probably need to build it somewhere down here, which is the Desert Colossus from Ocarina of Time. So we'll build it right here. All these animals will get out of the way. I like insta-build. So it's the Desert Colossus from Ocarina of Time, and unfortunately I built it facing away from the sun, so it's not lighting up the awesome statue of the... In canon Zelda, I don't think this is based on any actual character from the series, but in the canon of Hyrule Total War in this game, it's the first sage Kovalu, which is basically the first sage of spirits, and she's like the snake creature that can control spirits and wind and stuff. But like all the other Gerudo buildings, can be garrisoned, and the little soldiers show up on the little hands there, and they can shoot down from the hands, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, that's most of the Gerudo features. I'm trying to think if I forgot any. I think that's most of their unique features. So there's going to be a little bit of an awkward cut here, and I'm going to show a little bit of a battle against the Kingdom of Hyrule. So stay tuned for that. Alrighty, here is the second half of the video. Got a little bit of a base built up here and a little bit of an army, and I'm going to go siege the poor Kingdom of Hyrule, which still has only just started producing soldiers, so I've definitely got the upper hand here. Which is fine, because I don't know if I want to lose in the little showcase, so let me get all my units going. So I got, you know, a column of infantry, some cavalry, tons of ranged units over here, and then I have, this is the Sandseal Plower, which is basically a living battering ram. I'm bringing these in to go destroy their buildings and tear them apart. So they're a siege unit, which I think is really awesome for some reason. Them into an open column so that they're spread out a little bit. And they got like these giant golden horns that are based off of the Thunder Helmet from Breath of the Wild and they use those to ram into buildings and tear them apart. So anyway, let's get my armies down here. Let's see, they still only have a few troops. I think I set the AI on easy, so they're not really doing too much. Oh, they're spamming tons of workers, that's for sure. Well, I guess this is gonna be a slaughter. Get these guys into a battle line. 2, 3, 4. Where's my plowers? Don't really want to attack them until my archers are up here. And the little ranged sand seals back there. A lot of buildings to destroy. Although in 0 AD, the default command for melee soldiers, or just normal soldiers that aren't siege weapons, is to capture buildings. So, see these little, if you can see, there's like these little 2 flags here on the cursor. So if I ordered my soldiers to attack this Hylian house here, they'd actually capture it. So if you want to destroy a building, you just hold down control and it changes to a sword. And whoops, wrong button. Oh, looks like they're coming out to meet my army. And there they go. Wind Witch is starting those little tornadoes. Let's get these guys over here. I'm gonna send my flowers in to attack their buildings. Flowers go. Well, I like the tornado dust here from the Wind Witch attacks. I can't wait to add in the custom sound effects. It's gonna be so great. Go destroy the house. Yeah, the stock 080 sound effects are not really doing it for me. They don't really fit the Zelda stuff, but that's alright. I'll add in sounds as soon as I get the chance. I'm actually just gonna rush their town center after they slaughter all these workers here. See their town center shooting out all these arrows at my guys. Rush the town center, capture it. Come on guys, go capture the town center. See, like this little red health bar that shows up here, that's the capture bar. The more soldiers you have, the faster it goes down, but they can also garrison units inside and try to keep it going up. So you need a pretty big army to capture buildings like the town center here. My army's pretty big, so I think I'll be able to capture it. Yeah, the bar is like barely going down, so I don't have a big enough army around it. But everyone's gathering around it to capture it now. Look at all the dead workers. Another thing I'll be able to do is have custom blood effects, so I can finally have, because in Medieval 2 you're only limited to one blood sprite, so you can only have red blood, but canonically a lot of my creatures in my version of Hyrule have different colored blood, like the Zora and the Goma actually have red blood, but the Tweely have like glow-in-the-dark blood, so that'll be pretty cool. And I captured their town center. And looks like they're giving up because they're just destroying all their buildings now. Which means I think I won. Love the freaking snowing ice arrows, it's so cool. Yep, I think I won. The victory prompt should be coming up any second now. Oh no, they got one unit out here. One little civilian that might try to... Yep, they're trying to rebuild their base. Quick, kill her! Shoot her! Where's my cavalry? Run her down! Yep, they're trying to rebuild their base. Yeah, I won. Awesome. Well, that was a little showcase of the Gerudo. Not my favorite faction, but they're near the top of my favorites, at least aesthetically. I really like the sort of desert warrior look. I kind of like how they're an amalgamation of all these sort of completely unrelated desert cultures. Like there's a lot of Persian influence, and you can see a lot of Moorish and Spanish influence, and then in Breath of the Wild they added a lot of Pueblo influence, which a lot of their buildings are based on, because I kind of like that adobe look, because I love the Mojave Desert in general. It's one of my favorite places to visit, so I like how they went with the adobe look. But yeah, that's some of the Gerudo features. Sometime in the next I don't want to give an exact date, but in the next several weeks I'm going to try and release a demo with the Gerudo and Hylian, so you guys can try this out and you can compare and contrast it to the Total War version of the game, and see which one you like better. Before I release it, I'll probably do one more video showcasing the heroes for these two factions, as well as the Titan units, which I'm really excited about. But until then, stay tuned, and thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a good one.